Hey everyone, I'm Mariana, this is Impression Blend, and today I'm going to be making my Oscar predictions for this Sunday, as well as giving you my personal picks. The 93rd Academy Awards are just around the corner, so let's talk about this. I have my list of nominees with me. Last year, I did pretty well on my Oscar predictions, so I'm assuming that means that since there is an expectation of me being fairly accurate now, I'm going to be way off. But we'll see, I actually feel like a lot of these are pretty obvious this year. Famous last words. I'm going to try my best to refrain from complaining about the snubs when I'm talking about my personal picks, but I make no promises. Just insert, I'm thinking of ending things into like half of these categories because that is my main complaint as far as the snubs go. But let's get on with these predictions. First of all, let's talk about the shorts really quickly. I have to confess, I didn't watch all of the shorts, but I did manage to watch the most popular ones and the ones that are projected to win. And if I'm looking down, it's because I'm looking at this piece of paper. So let's start with animated short film. And this one I'm pretty sure is going to go to If Anything Happens, I Love You. I ended up watching 3 out of the 5, and I would definitely agree that out of the 3 that I saw, this one is very, very deserving. Then for live action short film, I don't have a personal favorite because I only watched 2, so I watched less than half of them. I'm pretty sure Two Distant Strangers is the one that's going to get it. It could potentially go to The Letter Room, but Two Distant Strangers looks pretty safe. And those 2 are actually the 2 that I ended up watching. So between the 2, I would personally go with The Letter Room, but I'm pretty sure Two Distant Strangers is going to take it. And as far as documentary short subject goes, I also only watched 2, and my prediction for the winner here is A Concerto is a Conversation. And that is it for the shorts. If you have favorites, please leave them in the comments below. Generally, please leave your predictions and your favorites in the comments below if you agree, if you disagree, but particularly for the short films, I am not great about watching shorts. So if you think there are any that I absolutely have to watch, leave them below. All right, let's get on to the feature film categories, and I'm starting with original screenplay. My prediction here is Promising Young Woman. For a while, I thought that this one was going to go to The Trial of the Chicago 7 because it's Aaron Sorkin and it is a very memorable screenplay. However, judging by the momentum and everything that's going on and the conversations that are happening, I think Promising Young Woman is going to get this one. As far as my personal pick goes, I would have to disagree with that one. It's not that I don't like Promising Young Woman. You guys know it was in my top 10 movies of 2020. I just think that the screenplay kind of lacks nuance and subtlety. So I would actually go with Minari for my pick, but I don't think it has a very good chance of winning. So Promising Young Woman it is. Now for adapted screenplay, I'm actually going to go with the riskier choice for my prediction. I think Nomadland is the safe choice a lot of people are going with, but I think this one is actually going to go to The Father, and that is my personal pick as well. My logic behind this is that obviously The Father has won some awards, but this is the category where I think The Father has the best chance of winning any Oscar at all. And it would really make me very, very sad if The Father got absolutely nothing. And I do think that on some level, the Academy takes into consideration the chances of a film winning anything. So if they're going to give something to The Father, if it's just one thing, I think it's going to be adapted screenplay. So that is my pick. Of course, Nomadland is a very, very strong contender, and I would not be surprised if Nomadland won this, but going with the father. Next up is visual effects. Now, this one, in my mind, there's no doubt that this should go to Tenet. And by all logic, it will go to Tenet because, I mean, how could it not? However, the only other factor that could be at play here is people being a little bit upset at Christopher Nolan as far as the release of Tenet went and as far as his attitude towards the HBO Max Warner Brothers deal. I think there is a slight chance that that might drive some voters away from Tenet, and in that case, the award should go and will go to The Midnight Sky, but I just don't think the majority of the voters are that petty, so I'm still sticking with Tenet as my personal pick and as my prediction. Sound is a very easy category. This one is going to Sound of Metal, and it should go to Sound of Metal. You guys know I love Sound of Metal, and sound is a huge part of that film and its storytelling. So yeah, there's no question about this one. Moving on. Production design. This is actually one of my favorite categories. I am always somebody who is paying attention to the details of the production design and what's going on and how realistic and how interesting is this movie's universe, so to speak. So I love the production design category, and I think there is absolutely no way it could go anywhere other than Mank. I think all of these are very strong contenders, and Mank is my personal pick as well. If I had to pick a second favorite, I would go with The Father. There's just so much thought in the production design of that film, and it doesn't look like a film that would necessarily be an obvious nominee for this category, but if you're paying attention to the details and to how everything plays into the story and plays into the mindset of the main character, you would be really amazed by how all of that works. So that one is definitely a big favorite for me, but I think Mank absolutely deserves it. Best original song. This one I think is going to Speak Now from One Night in Miami. I do like all three of the top contenders here, Husavik, EOC, and Speak Now, and I don't have a very strong preference between the three of these. I think Husavik could come out of nowhere and steal this, and I do really like that song. Maybe that is actually my slight preference over the other two, but I would not bet against Speak Now. I know EOC has a lot of momentum behind it as well, and there's a lot of talk about it. However, I do think that One Night in Miami is getting this one, especially since I don't think it's getting anything else. So once again, coming back to the idea that they're going to want to reward this movie somewhere. And I think that's going to be the category for it. Next, original score. Allow me to complain about the snubs here for a second, because I still cannot wrap my mind around the fact that The Midnight Sky was not nominated. I think The Midnight Sky is one of the best scores of the year. Easily, it probably is actually my favorite score of the year, but since it's not an option, I can't take that as my pick. Also, Tenet was snubbed here pretty unfairly, but out of the nominees, I think Soul is a very solid prediction here. My pick would actually be Mank, and it's funny because they're both Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross scores, and I just think Mank is a more interesting option in this case. There's nothing wrong with the Soul score. It's a beautiful score, but if we talk my personal preference, that's the one I'm going with. Also, I did really like the score for Minari, but the main point is Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross are getting an Oscar, and I'm excited about that. Makeup and hairstyling. This one is easy. It's going to go to Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and I think that is very fair. That would be my pick as well. And let's talk about costume design while we're at that. Costume design also going to Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Here, my favorite is actually Emma. I think it's a beautiful film, and the costumes are absolutely insane. but I do understand why the Academy would choose Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I actually think Mank is a really good contender for this category as well. That would probably be my second favorite, but I don't think anyone is taking that Oscar away from Ma Rainey's. Next up, International Feature Film. This one, once again, very easy. It's going to another round. You guys know it was my favorite film of last year. I love it. It's such a great film. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. I will say that Quo Vadis Aida is absolutely a fantastic and very difficult film to watch. And if you haven't seen it, absolutely watch it when you're ready for it emotionally. And maybe in a year where we weren't all looking for some life-affirming message, that film would be a bigger contender. But I don't know if anyone even saw that movie, so I don't think it has a chance of winning, and it's a shame because it deserves a lot more attention than what it's been getting. Documentary feature. This one I am a little bit confused by because it seems like My Octopus Teacher is the clear frontrunner, just judging by the wins and the conversation that's been happening around it. And I don't really know why this film is getting as much love and attention as it is. Don't get me wrong, I think it's a beautiful documentary. I really enjoyed it, but I'm just surprised that that one is leading over something like Time or Crip Camp. Don't get me started on the snubs for The Painter and the Thief and Dick Johnson is Dead. There are quite a few amazing documentaries that did not get in, and not only that, but now My Octopus Teacher is the front runner. A little bit confused by that. My personal choice is Crip Camp. I would love to see this one win, but it looks like it's going to be My Octopus Teacher. For the longest time, I thought that Time was going to be the winner, and I still think it could win the Oscar here, but I am sticking with the safe choice in this category. So yeah, My Octopus Teacher. Another safe choice I have for you is in the animated feature category, and that one, of course, is going to Soul. It would be really cool to see Wolfwalkers win, but that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Don't even think about it. It's going to go to Soul, and it is well deserved. So moving on. Film editing. I feel like this one could go to any of these, to be honest. This category is not clear to me at all. I can literally see any of these winning it. So my prediction is actually going to be Sound of Metal. And as you guys know, it's one of my favorite movies on this list. So I would be very happy to see it win. But I'm not going to lie, I don't have a very high level of confidence in this one. It's just that all of the other ones I have less confidence in. So we're going with that. And, you know, judging by the conversation, once again, that's been happening about these nominees, it seems like Sound of Metal is the front runner. I could totally see The Trial of the Chicago 7 winning this one as well, though, or Nomadland, or I don't know. I'm going with Sound of Metal. My personal pick is The Father 100%. If The Father wins this one, I'm going to be so incredibly excited. I doubt it's going to happen, though. It could, because like I said, it could go to any of these, but my guess is Sound of Metal. Cinematography is usually another one of my favorite categories, and surprisingly, I don't have a very clear favorite here as far as my preference goes. If I had to choose, I would be choosing between Mank, News of the World, and Nomadland, and I think my personal choice would go to Mank, but the winner here, I think, is going to be Nomadland. The Trial of the Chicago 7, I don't understand what it's doing in this category. It has no business being in the cinematography category. I'm sorry. Judas and the Black Messiah, I do understand why it's here, but I don't think it has a high chance of winning, so it's going to be Nomadland. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. As I said, that's my pick. I think Mank could potentially upset this one, and that would be something that I would like to see. Maybe News of the World? Nah, I don't think so. I think it's going to be Nomadland. I think they're going to go pretty safe on that one, but we'll see. Actress in a supporting role. This one is going to Yoo Jung-yoon. I'm sorry if I butchered that. I hope I did not do too bad of a job with the name, but this is also my pick for a favorite because she just did such a beautiful job in Minari. I loved her. I will say part of me would love to see Amanda Seyfried win for Mank just because it's such a different performance for her, and it's definitely a new level of acting for her. I just think it's a career best performance for her at the moment, so I would love to see her win, but I think in all fairness, Minari should take this one and will take this one. As for actress in a leading role, this one is absolutely up for debate. I think that this is going to be between Viola Davis and Carey Mulligan. I know Frances McDormand is also in the conversation. I don't think it's going to happen. I really do think it's either Viola Davis or Carey Mulligan. And my prediction is actually going to be Carey Mulligan. I'm going with my gut feeling on this one because I really do think it's a 50-50 situation. It could go either way, and maybe I'm wrong and Viola Davis is actually a lock and I just don't realize it. But my logic behind Carey Mulligan is that this is just such a standout role for her. And it is for Viola Davis as well for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, but Carey Mulligan makes that film. She is easily the best part of Promising Young Woman, and not to reward that would be strange. So that's also part of my reasoning, but mostly I'm just going with what my heart is telling me. My personal pick would have been Vanessa Kirby for Pieces of a Woman. That movie has had an unfortunate fate because of Shia LaBeouf. I think the allegations that came out against him really hurt this movie's chances of getting nominated in any other category. I think we would have seen it in other categories. And unfortunately, that really killed Vanessa Kirby's momentum, which is very, very sad. I think she absolutely delivers the best performance on this list, but that's just my opinion. She is my pick, though. She has been my pick ever since I watched Pieces of a Woman at TIFF, and I was just blown away. But my prediction, Carey Mulligan. Actor in a supporting role is a very easy one. This is going to Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah, and I think it should. He absolutely is the standout of that film. I completely agree. I would give it to Daniel Kaluuya as well. I do feel a little bit sad for Paul Raci. I think his performance was so beautiful in Sound of Metal, but then, you know, I saw Judas and the Black Messiah, and I realized that the supporting actor category race was over. As for actor in a leading role, this one I think we all know is going to Chadwick Boseman, who unfortunately passed away. My pick is Anthony Hopkins for The Father, and this is a very sensitive topic, so don't think that I'm trying to diminish Chadwick Boseman's performance. I think it's absolutely a career best performance for him. Had he still been alive, I think he absolutely would still be the front runner. However, I think there would be a little bit more of a question as far as predictions go, and I think there'd be more people thinking that Anthony Hopkins could get this one. I personally think that Anthony Hopkins is the strongest performance in this category. It is absolutely a devastating and such an emotional performance, but Chadwick Boseman, I don't think anything can change that. So that's my prediction. Moving on to directing. This one I think is going to Chloe Zhao for Nomadland. My personal pick is somewhere between Nomadland and Minari. I cannot choose between the two. I think I'm going to go for Minari for my personal pick just to highlight something different. I think a lot of people love that film as well. But for a while there, I actually thought this might go to David Fincher because this is his third time being nominated and looks like he's going to lose for the third time, unfortunately. But I did think that it is possible for him to get the Oscar just because he's been nominated twice already. I'm pretty sure it's going to Nomadland though. And as far as Best Picture goes, I think this one is also going to Nomadland. I absolutely believe that Nomadland is going to get a lot of these awards as you can tell. The only thing that I could see happening here is the Trial of the Chicago 7 coming in and getting Best Picture. The reason I think this is that the Trial of the Chicago 7 is such a crowd-pleasing film. Out of all of these, it is the most crowd-pleasing film, and it's a crowd-pleasing film with a message. So I can totally see that winning Best Picture. But Nomadland just has so much momentum behind it and so much support behind it. I don't think it's very likely for it to win, but who knows? I think if I had to pick a second one, it would absolutely be The Trial of the Chicago 7. I still think Nomadland is going to get it. For me, my picks are The Father and Minari. Minari is definitely my personal pick as far as favorites go. It's my favorite film for 2021 because it came out in 2021 here, and I love that film. However, I think objectively the best film on this list is The Father, and I would love to see it win Best Picture. It's not going to happen. Not at all. Don't even hope for it if you're with me on that one. But I think The Father is the one that deserves it the most. But it's going to be Nomadland, and I'm not mad about it because I do really love Nomadland. I enjoyed that film so much. It just put me in such a mood, and I really connected with it. So every time I'm going to hear that Nomadland won something, I'm going to be absolutely happy, even though my personal favorites are Minari and The Father. But Nomadland is probably my third favorite out of those. You guys know I'm rooting for Minari, The Father, Sound of Metal, and Nomadland. These four. And that is what I have to say about the Oscars this year. I think we can all agree that this is a strange year for Academy Awards, and it's not as exciting as last year when we had Parasite and Knives Out and Jojo Rabbit and 1917. There were so many really, really good films nominated, and it was truly exciting to see who's going to win because they're all so great and you want all of them to win and you don't want anybody to get snubbed. And there were films that got left out that were really amazing. But this year it's a little bit more calm and it's a little bit more obvious, I think, but we still have some really good films here. So let me know what your favorites are for these categories. What is your personal favorite for Best Picture? And what is your prediction for Best Picture? Just let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Would love to talk to you about all of this. Are you even going to be watching the Oscars this Sunday? I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you're likely to be watching the Oscars on Sunday. Or are you just going to read the results on social media as they happen? Let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. A very special thank you to all of my patrons supporting me on Patreon, with an extra special thank you to the patrons whose names are on the screen right now. But as always, thank you to everyone who made it to the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos, follow me on social media if you would like. All of those links are going to be in the info box below, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye.